Welcome to the summary of our 500 mile MG5 camping round trip, whatever you want to call it. We did 500 miles in the MG5. It was packed to the brim, no space whatsoever for anything else. And here is the summary. We're going to do, first of all, you'll see the journey, see the charging stop, and then at the end, I'm going to do my thoughts on the car, the charging situation, and just generally how it was. So here we go. So here we are, it's raining, we're on the start of our camping journey. How are you feeling, Rosie? Packed in, we've got stuff everywhere. We've got 249 miles of range, supposedly. The journey is only 125 miles, but we're probably going to charge just to keep, this is only half the journey, so we're going to go have one night stopover and then we're going to carry on. So let's get going. So as we go on this journey, I'll talk you through what happened, what we're doing. This first leg is to get to Rugby GridServe. It's 103 miles and it was raining, and the extra weight in the car I think didn't help the miles per kilowatt hour. We're at 3.6 compared to a normal 4.1. It's a bit colder as well. But yeah, we eventually got there and did a bit of a top up. We've got 49% charge, 105 miles left, 106 journey miles. 3.6, so a bit worse than normal. Normally we're getting about 4.1, but I think the extra weight of the car is definitely making a difference. So we're going to do a little top up here. Got a nice charger here, and then we'll see how that goes. So we're successfully charging at 42 kilowatts at the moment. We're at 51%, and so we're going to get up to about 80% and keep going. The first time I put it in, it didn't work. We'll see if I get charged for that. I don't know, hopefully not. It took a payment and then it just stopped, so I had to put it back in and then restart. But second go, we are charging, so hopefully this will all work out fine. Okay, we're charged up to 87%, 186 miles left. We've only got 20 minutes journey now to keep going, but that's pretty good. It worked. There's a lot of people here. It was pretty busy, and it wasn't charged very quickly, 43. And I looked at some of the other cars, they weren't going that quickly either, so I don't know what that was about. But it worked, we got there, it wasn't much of a rush, but yeah, we'll keep going now. Just a very short journey, this one, just 25 odd miles down the motorway to Northampton, where we're going to stay with family and get ourselves rested for the rest of the journey and the second day. Here are the stats for the day. We end up with 79% charge and 185 miles ready for the day 2 journey. 3 and a bit hours in the car basically. 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour, and you'll notice that's gone up slightly as the days got warmer and it stopped raining. It seems to be recovering, and tomorrow you'll see it gets actually a lot better. 133 miles is not a lot, obviously, by a lot of people's standards, but that's a lot when you've got 2 kids in the car and they don't want to be stuck in the car for more than 3 hours. So we'll stop here and then we're going to get going again the next day. Day 2, we've had a nice good sleep, we're ready for camping. We've got 183 miles of range, we're going 113 miles, so it should be fine, but we're probably going to stop off, get some food and charge up, so let's get going. So while we were there, we got our Zapped map out, we worked out where the chargers were on this route, and we found this one in Cobham services with Ionity chargers, and we ended up using it twice, but we'll come back to that in a minute. The journey was actually not the best because, as you might have guessed, the M25 was pretty slow, so it felt like a not particularly nice journey, but we got there and we did some charging. We're going to attempt to charge. We're all full at the moment, so we might have to wait. So we'll see, but we've done a lot of miles. We've done pretty well. 78.5 miles, better miles per kilowatt hour today. It's a bit hotter, and 107 miles left on the range. We probably could make it, but we're going to probably just do a top up here just to make sure.
Okay, yeah. Wine and good food. It's got it going.
It's going. You're going.
I've never seen anyone. Is that using the?
My newfound friend was just about to ask if I'd just used the QR code to get charging. They hadn't seen anybody do that before. They'd got the apps. I think their cars had also come with a load of discounts. So good for them. The MG5 gets none of that. But yeah, just using the QR code, and it gives you a web app just to be able to monitor the progress of the charging. That seemed to work fine. Didn't get particularly quick, this charging, and then when it gets towards 79, 80%, you see a bit of a drop off of charging speeds, but that's fine, that's kind of to be expected. But yeah, decent charge, not too complicated this time. Okay, we've just done a little top up here at Ionity. Pretty good, didn't charge very quickly, but we're up to 82%, about half an hour, and we've got 40 minutes left. About how many miles? 35 miles. So that'll be we'll just do a little stop off to see some family. We did a very, very short stop off, but effectively we just went straight through to Staining or Stenning. No idea how you say that, but that's where we were camping. We have made it. Finally, we're here. We've got 59% left. It was pretty straightforward, so we'll catch you on the other side of the camping, and you'll see if we have managed to stay alive in the wilderness. See you in a few days.
Woo!
The car is packed up again. We've finished our camping. We're all extremely tired, ready to get going, but we're going to have our stopover again in Northampton. So now we've got our first journey, and then we'll be back there. So hopefully we will make it. We're going to need to charge it only at 59%. I think we'll just charge on the way somewhere here, so we'll see you at that point. Now, unfortunately, one of us wasn't feeling very well at this point, so we decided to just keep it relatively short and get to the same one, the Ionity one that we'd used on the way up, just so we could have a break and get out the car. So that's where we headed. Okay, we're back at Cobham, I don't know, 41%, 95 miles left. We thought we'd just stop it while we're here because we know these ones work. Ionity again, and yeah, here we go. This was a fairly stressful experience as a new EV owner. The first stall just didn't work. I thought it was because I was not using the app, so I installed the app, but it wasn't, it was just the stall. But then we moved to a different stall and it got going, and it charged fine. Bit faster this time actually, because I think the heat, it was a bit hotter today. And it actually ended up charging further than we planned because we were inside getting some food. But yeah, the app's good. Nice to have the ability to see what your charging is, because the MG5 doesn't come with an app on its own. Okay, we're up to 90% from the Ionity. Bit of a faff. One of the stalls wasn't working, so we had to switch to another. So I've ended up installing the app. I'll show you the screen recording of that. But it's charged pretty quickly. It's a bit of a hot day, so yeah, that was quite good. So now we're going to crack on and get home. Well, not get home. Get to our middle stopover with family and get a shower and sort ourselves out there. This journey was completely fine. About 80 odd miles. We ended up getting there with 61% left. A guess range of 161 miles, 4.2 miles per kilowatt hour. So again, compared to the first journey on the first day where it was raining, the miles per kilowatt hour is much better. So I don't think that really was much to do with the weight of the car in the end, and it seems to have been more to do with the heat and the rain. But yeah, 3 hours in the car was plenty. We got there, we did a bit of granny charging in the morning just to test it out, wires everywhere, just to make sure we didn't blow up the garage, and we did not blow up the garage, so that's good. But as you'll see, the car was nowhere near as full here because we dropped off some camping equipment that we had borrowed from the grandparents, so it wasn't as full after this. Right, we are on our final leg home now, back to Chester. 66%. We've done a little bit of granny charging, should be plenty, about 110 miles ish, and we should finally get home. We've had a good rest, good bit of shower action, very nice, and now we're on our way. So this journey, we started off at 66% and we ended up actually getting back in the red. We thought we had plenty of buffer. We thought we didn't need to charge, and we didn't need to charge. And the guessometer was relatively accurate all the way along. And so we got home with about 33 miles left showing on that. So it was fine. It was a bit stressful when the meter turns red, but actually you kind of know you've got the miles, and we knew we could charge it when we got home. So yeah, it was fine. And this was the end of our journey. So, overall, this trip went really, really well. So the car, let's talk about the car first of all. The car was amazing. So we got everything in. It was a real squeeze, and it's not a massive estate car or a station wagon, but in fact, it was fine. It did everything we needed to. We were comfy enough. There was pillows, there was sleeping bags everywhere. The kids had stuff all over their laps, but on the whole, it worked pretty well. Some of the highlights of this car whilst driving, I talked a little bit about this before, but the adaptive cruise control just makes motorway driving so easy. You just almost can completely switch off, and you can't completely switch off, but it is amazing how little you have to do. You just get your feet nice and comfy, and you let the car, and the radar on the front of the car can easily sense what's in front. It's really effective. It feels safe. It feels like the car just knows what it's doing and is fine. And so doing the motorway driving, it's by far the most pleasant motorway driving I've ever done. It was really, really good. So that was that. The car just on the whole was perfect. Nothing went wrong with it at all. The charging situation. So this is obviously one of the big things, the charging infrastructure in the UK. How is it? How does it work when you're going multiple long journeys and you're trying to charge up multiple times? And as you saw in the video, it was okay. The issues were obviously that the chargers don't really have 100% reliability, and we kind of know that already. But you're going to have to prepare yourself if you're going to do a journey like this, that something might go wrong or take a little longer than you think to get the charging started or the charging working. Obviously, we didn't have to go to multiple charging sites. We didn't rock up to a charger and then find out that it wasn't working. We didn't have to then go to another one. The GridServe one in Rugby, plenty of chargers there. Although you got to say, plenty. The peak times that we went to the Rugby one at lunchtime, it was pretty full, and so you can see as electric cars become more and more popular, the infrastructure that they're putting in place now, even though they're obviously ramping up and putting more chargers in, I don't think there was enough there. And the same the Ionity, the first time at the Ionity charger in Cobham was full, and we had to wait. And you think, well, these chargers have probably been put in the last year or two, and they're going to have to double at least that. And I just wonder if the current plan for chargers at motorway service stations and just in general is just going to be outpaced by the popularity of EVs. We'll see that. But if you don't mind waiting a few minutes just for a charger, because the thing is, it doesn't take that long to charge these cars up. So out of 6, it maybe took me 10 minutes to wait, and then I was in a charger. So it wasn't that bad. So the actual waiting for chargers wasn't a problem. The chargers, we said, reliability was, I got them all going, so that was fine. The experience is different. So normally in a petrol car, you might nip into a service station, might go for a quick loo break, and then you'd be back on the road. We changed our habits basically because of this, and probably ended up spending more money. We ended up saying, well, okay, we're going to eat. We'll prioritise stopping and eating because we know the car's going to need 40 odd minutes, half an hour. So we'll just go and eat. So it actually the journeys didn't feel longer, even though they were longer, because you were having a bit more leisure time as you were waiting. But we did probably end up spending more money, and obviously we probably saved a bit of money on the actual electricity, although they're not that cheap at the motorway service stations at all. But yeah, the food cost, I don't think I'd want to always be planning to eat, because it is going to cost a lot more money. And if you're kind of in the EV business for a little bit of savings, you're going to eat into that if you eat every time you wait to charge. But generally, it just was a shift of habits, a more relaxed pace to a journey. So a 3-hour journey may have been a 2.5-hour journey in a normal car with petrol, but it didn't feel longer. It didn't feel bad. It didn't feel like a real slog. It felt, just generally because the driving experience was much better, it felt pleasant, and the charging stops. I mean, maybe it's because it's novelty value, because it's new, but for me and the rest of the family, it didn't feel like that big a deal. And the service stations had play areas, so the kids were quite happy. So, yeah, that wasn't so bad. I was expecting that to feel a bit worse, but the journey time and the just journey experience with the extra charging time didn't really change anything. On the whole, we're doing things on this channel with rating everything out of 5. The car was perfect, so we'll give that a solid MG5 5 out of 5. The charging experience and the charging infrastructure, we'll give it a 4 out of 5 because it all did everything it needed to. And just the general experience, we'll give it a 4 out of 5 because it was pretty good all round. So there we go. If you like this sort of stuff, just look at electric vehicles from a family perspective, or looking at the cheaper electric cars, please subscribe. You can like this video if you liked it. But other than that, we'll see you soon. Bye.